Hi, my name is James Shepard, and in yesterday's video, I talked to you about where did Bitcoin come from. We talked about the blockchain technology, and today I want to talk to you about why is Bitcoin such a mess. So again, to go back historically a little bit, we've literally, in the last 6 months, the amount of volatility in Bitcoin has been insane. You literally right now, if you said, James, I have $1,000, I'm thinking about investing it in Bitcoin, is that a good idea? You literally would have better odds if you went to the casino and played blackjack with your $1,000 than you would to invest in Bitcoin right now. Because when you have that much volatility, the more volatility you have, the less predictability you have, okay? So if a stock is going up and down, 50%, 50%, up and down, there's no way you're gonna be able to predict that. Prediction is when you see something that kind of is doing this. And you're like, oh, that's going up. If something's slowly going up, it's going up. Something's slowly going down, it's going down. Even then, predictability is tough because something could happen to throw off your assumptions. But with Bitcoin right now, there's literally just no way to predict it. And again, it's just hilarious to me, all the LinkedIn messages and all the Facebook posts and everything I got of, back in December of, oh, you need to get involved with Bitcoin. I'm making thousands of dollars and all that. And it's like, well, yeah. I mean, like I can flip a coin up in the air and I can get heads. But imagine if I told you, hey, if you invest $1,000 with me, I'm going to flip a coin, and if it's heads, you're going to get $2,000. If it's tails, I'm going to take your $1,000. Is that a good deal? Well, over time, you're just going to break even, and who knows? If you only have $1,000, that's a terrible deal because you got a 50% chance of losing all your money. Well, that's kind of where you're at right now with Bitcoin. If you're trying to trade Bitcoin and all these people that are talking about, well, we found this mathematical, whatever that predicts the movement of Bitcoin. Oh, really? Did it predict when the government came in and regulated Bitcoin and it dropped? Did it predict when the Silk Road was was seized by the government and Bitcoin dropped like 50% in like 2 hours? Did your mathematical model predict that was going to happen? No, it is impossible. You cannot predict massive unpredictable events. They're unpredictable by definition. So right now, anybody that tells you, hey, Bitcoin is an amazing investment. All you have to do is, put in your $10,000 and we'll teach you how to trade Bitcoin. Well, I can tell you it's going to be very exciting. If you're a adrenaline junkie and you just want to waste $10,000 on something and maybe end up with $2,000 or maybe end up with $50,000, go for it. It could be a lot of fun, but you're probably going to lose all your money. So just be prepared for that because there's just no way to predict it. It's like a crapshoot, okay? So that's the status right now of Bitcoin. Now, why is it such a mess? Well, what you have to understand about Bitcoin is Bitcoin has gone above and beyond to avoid structure. Structure is like the enemy of Bitcoin. They don't want any government control. They don't want any involvement. They don't want regulation. They don't want laws regulating what they can and cannot do with the currency and things like that, okay? Now, again, when I say the word regulation, now a lot of times that word has a negative connotation, as it should. Many times the government swoops into an industry, regulates it, and it's a big mess. I'll give you an example. One of my huge pet peeves right now is self-driving cars. So the self-driving car technology is going to be like a huge industry over the next 5 to 20 years. And what happens right now is every time some idiot takes their hand off the wheel in their Tesla, and they drive into a truck or something, and that's very sad for them, but they're not even operating it correctly, and it's like one person out of a million dies. It's this huge news story, and all the senators and congressmen, oh, we've got to regulate this industry. It's just getting out of control. Really? Like 4,000 people died in their Ford, car yesterday. Are we regulating more there? Like, what in the world? You know what I mean? It's like literally 50 times safer right now to have a car that's got all these sensors and auto driving, but every time somebody dies, we try to regulate it. So that's an example of potentially very damaging bad regulation. But an example of good regulation is you're not allowed to go and make copies of US currency. Can we all agree that's a pretty good regulation? That's a pretty good law, right? I can't just go print currency. That's actually a federal offense. You know why? Because if we allowed people to do that, how would we know if our money was worth anything? Because it might be fake. It might not be, right? So these are the types of problems that Bitcoin is running into. So what's going on with Bitcoin is there's a couple big things that are causing it to be a little bit of a mess, actually a huge, massive mess right now. Number one, there's no structure. And so currency, the underlying value of currency is all about trust and faith in that currency. I'm going to Niagara Falls, Canada next week with a school group, and my wife and I are taking a school group there, and I'm bringing my US currency to Canada. Now, when I go there, people are going to allow me to use my US currency. When I reserve the hotel rooms, we got one of these really cool hotels that like overlooks the falls and the Canadian side and everything. And when I booked those hotel rooms, they were expensive, and I used my American currency card, and the Canadian hotel accepted it. You know why? Because the Canadian hotel has a very good faith and belief in the fact that that U.S. currency is going to be worth something in a month, a week, a month, a year. Maybe it's going to drop 5% or go up 5%, but it's going to be stable. It's going to be there. And that's because of all the structure there is regulating and making sure the U.S. currency stays where it is. Now, with Bitcoin, if you accept Bitcoin, you don't have that faith. And so a lot of people, what happens is as soon as one little negative thing happens related to Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, which happens a lot, people are like scared to death. Oh my goodness, what's going to happen with Bitcoin? I better sell right now while it's still 17,000 because I may never, it may never get there again. And this may be the highest point it ever gets to. So sell, sell, sell. When people sell, the price goes down. When people buy, the price goes up. And so when you have this, craze of like, oh, a good thing happened with cryptocurrency. Oh, I better buy it right now because it's at the lowest point it's ever going to be at. Buy, 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 buy. Oh, something terrible happened. Sell, 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 sell. That's where you're getting that volatility from. And so the reason cryptocurrency is such a mess right now is because people just don't believe in it. So what is the moral of all of this? The moral of all of this is I'm not against cryptocurrency. I'm really not at all. In fact, I think that 15 years from now, I think it'll play a fairly major role in society. I don't think it'll play the role that people hope it will, but I think it will play a very important role in society. Where it will be over the next 3 to 5 years is kind of where it's at now. It's going to be a mess, maybe less and less of a mess, but it's still going to be a mess. And the reason is because they're still fighting the structure, they're fighting the laws and regulations, and they fail to understand this basic principle that you're operating in a country, and so Bitcoin is accepted in the US, accepted in Canada, the UK, etc. And the problem they're failing to understand is that Bitcoin, almost all of the exchanges are based on US dollars. So the federal government, the larger Bitcoin gets, the more it's going to be regulated. That's like saying 2 + 2 = 4, okay? The larger a business gets, the larger an industry gets, the more it's going to be regulated. Now, right now, it hasn't been regulated very much at all. And when there was a little bit of regulation, it was fought and fought and fought. And granted, part of that regulation was a little bit ridiculous, and the guy who regulated it in New York, that I think was the attorney general there that was the main person, he ended up starting a law practice to help people with the law he just passed, which is ridiculous. So definitely there was some bad stuff going on behind the scenes politically there, but the idea is it needs to be regulated. It needs a little bit of structure, and I think Bitcoin would do really well to stop fighting the structure quite as much to make it a little bit more of a viable currency, because right now it's just really not a viable currency. Now, I have a Bitcoin app on my phone. I bought some Bitcoin in the past. I bought stuff with Bitcoin. Why? Because I want to know how it works. I didn't put $50,000 into it, but I've tried it out. I want to see how it works, right? So that's why it's such a mess right now. But in the next video, I'm going to talk to you about an important thing, which is should your merchants accept Bitcoin? So we're going to talk about that in the next video.